this is where it becomes an art, all right? So as you're schooling him, you're working on unlocking pieces of his body so that he can soften and yield and stretch and use his body in a more balanced way. Unfortunately, he has certain roadblocks that he hits, and then he gets stuck in them. And then when he gets stuck in his roadblocks, he just kind of goes along and he hits the contact, or he leans a little on the contact. So what you want to do is think of it like you're the potter and he's the clay, and he's on kind of like a potter's wheel, right? So he's got to kind of go around and go around and go around, and you're moving parts of his body. So like when you're shaping clay, you have to kind of use certain pressure points, shift things around, up the speed, slow the speed, all these things. So when you're working with the horse, you have to kind of isolate different parts of the body. So like sometimes you have to move the shoulder over, sometimes you have to move the rib cage over, sometimes you have to bring the outside around a little bit more. Sometimes you have to get them to not lock in the jaw behind the cheek. And then generally what the main thing is you have to think of the wheel. The wheel has to keep turning. So the wheel is what? His hind legs, okay? So the hind legs have to be as consistent as possible for you to be able to shape the rest of the body. If the hind legs don't stay consistent, then the rest of the body can't make progress, shift, move, change, soften, follow, lift, all those things we're looking for. So when you feel that he gets a little bit stagnant or heavy in the contact, that means somewhere in his body he's leaning or bracing or not using, So you plug back into, first you got to get the wheel going. So the wheel has to turn enough for you to shape the clay. The hind legs are your wheels. And then you have to shape it in a circle. So you have to look at the body and say, okay, where is the horse, falling in or falling out? Is his body lining up? Is he heavy? And then you start to play with what you know. You bring the nose in a little bit. You push the shoulder away a little bit. You push the rib cage away a little bit. You do your circle straight. So you do a small circle that he comes around. And then you walk a couple steps straight on the circle so that he can lift up the inside shoulder. And then you keep building that. So like there, go for even a smaller circle. Reel him in a little bit, so when he's on the rail, he's still looking in. Because see how when he goes on the rail, he wants to look out? If he looks out, he's still falling in. He doesn't want to look in because if he brings his nose in, he's got to pick up his inside shoulder, and he can't wing his haunches out when he's on the rail because the rail then catches him. So you're using different pieces to help move this, shift this, shape that. Good. So that as you go through it, you start to see that nice, round, soft horse that you're trying to build. Because you're the builder, you're the creator, you're just trying to help the horse find a better balance. Add water, right? Or if there's a little lump in it, you gotta smooth it out, Too much pressure makes it go wonky. Not enough pressure it falls in. You know what I mean? So it's like you're always trying to play around with keeping the balance fluid and shaping the horse. So, again, it's easier said than done. We all know this. But if you're going around and he's just kind of like on the end of the contact, then you got to make more of a curve. You need to make a smaller circle. You need to bring the nose in more, or you let him go larger and you send it forward. Like there, I would bring him in more, and I would go for trying to get the outside chest to come around so you could see his chest coming around the circle a little bit more. And so if he twists, that's okay. He has to bring his chest around and time it try to time it. Then as you bring it around, then eventually you could softly let it out when you feel you've got the balance that you're looking for. See there how you just released the jaw? Yeah. So you gotta make certain adjustments and then see what happens. Overbend it. You know what I mean? For a second. Bring his nose in, push the shoulder away. There you go. Make him, have him stretch a little, and then that's probably enough. So then let him kind of slowly come out of it and see if he keeps a little bit of the arc. And then he looks away. So I would, again, bring his nose in, because you don't want him looking away from you. But you also don't want to hold him in. But you got to bring it in to shape it, to then release it, to curve it around. Yes. Yes. Then don't let him stall. Fair enough. There you go. Don't let him stall out. Because there was a good moment, but then he went too low and then he stalled out. So now you got to get his neck back in. Nose in. Keep your rhythm outside. Don't forget the wheel. Yeah, here you're starting to get things to move. Nose in. Come on, bring it in. Good. Stretch it around. You want to see the outside of his chest. You want to see his right fore come around you, not the left fore head away from you. There you go. Make the adjustments and then you slowly let it out. But don't let it out so that all of a sudden you let it out and he heads away from you, right? Bring it around. Don't lose the energy. Bring it around till he starts to carry that around you. There, feel it for a minute. Gotta shape it. He's a little lazy. So he doesn't want to use his muscles. So you have to kind of trigger certain things and be like, all right, we're going to do this. And then we're going to kind of stay there. And then we're going to release it and soften it. And we're going to see if you hold it. And if you don't hold it, then I'm going to ask you to hold it again. Yep, pick up the inside shoulder. Yep. Around, but then you got to go straight at some point in time, because then he just falls in, you see? Walk straight a little bit. There. And then around again. And then straight again. Don't lose the arc though. Around again, immediately. Around, because he's going around, or he's getting ready to lean on the rail and not come around you. He should be preparing to come around you on a circle in more like a shoulder in idea. So you could see his chest. He wants to just fall to the wall and not lift his back and use his body. This is where he's a little lazy. Good. Super. Look for that chest. Don't forget your rhythm with the outside hind leg.